Hi everybody, I am in my working clothes and getting ready to do a couple projects, and one of the things I'm getting ready to do I thought would make a good little informative video for you all. So if you're anybody out there is like me and you're a crafter, or you want to become a crafter and you want to start redoing some furniture and you don't know where to start, I'm going to give you some tips on a really easy project that gives you pretty quick results and a nice transformation. Fairly easy to do, generally inexpensive, which inexpensive is kind of my thing. So before we start, please remember to like, follow, and share my creative page. Today we're going to do table makeovers. So I buy lots of little tables, end tables, coffee tables, nightstands, that kind of thing. Easily found at thrift stores, garage sales, and even on like Facebook Marketplace. So to keep your project inexpensive, the first thing you want to do is don't spend too much money on your makeover table. This is not a table that you're looking for with a beautiful wood finish, flawless, no scratches. You're looking for the ugly duckling that somebody's selling for $8 to $10. Less if you can get it for less. So when you have found your ugly duckling, you have to make some decisions. First of all, you have to decide, are you going to paint it? And if so, what color? And that would be your first step, is painting your table, or staining it, or whitewashing it, or whatever your base color is going to be, or base finish is going to be. Do that first. Today what I'm going to talk about is things to do on the top of your surface of your table, because oftentimes you'll buy them, they're going to be chipped. A lot of them are veneer, which is a very thin wood-like plastic surface, which is very difficult to paint over. So you need to come up with another solution. As to, just a minute, I just noticed something's turned off on this. Oh, it's okay. Never mind, hold on. Sorry about that interruption. Anyways, so you have to figure out how you're going to cover the surface of your table and make it look cute. Again, trying not to spend too much money. So I'm going to show you some of the things I use to cover table surfaces that are fairly inexpensive and generally easy to find. Also keep in mind that what the table surface is going to be used for. The things I'm going to show you are not intended for tables that are going to be like eaten at, like not a dining room table probably. These are, like I said, end tables, nightstands, coffee tables, plant stands, that kind of thing. So I love to use a variety of materials to cover my tabletops. Sometimes I just paint them. If the surface of the tabletop isn't too bad and can be sanded out and, made fairly smooth, painting is great. But if you want to get creative and give your table a little extra flair, here are some ideas. First one is old sewing patterns. I know, you wouldn't think of it, but it works really cute, and I'm sure you've seen stuff I've done. You can use, I use the actual, this is the paper envelope that they come in. Sometimes if this is a cool picture, I'll cut that out and use that. Excuse me. But this is what I use. And when you find these old patterns, somebody's usually already made the outfit, and so they've cut it all apart for you. So your deal is to unfold it. Like, this is pretty see-through. Like, oh, and this is, see, it says back to, it says McCall, and some of them have, the little pattern pieces have pictures. So this is just like tissue paper, and you can Mod Podge this right onto a flat surface super easily. The way you do it is a layer of Mod Podge, smooth, and then smooth your tissue paper over. I suggest working in smaller size pieces, that way you can get it flatter. Let it dry, if you start to get little air bubbles, don't immediately panic. Work as many of them out as you can, but if you start to get air bubbles in tissue paper, don't over rub. You will rip your tissue paper. The best thing to do is to let it dry. Oh, and then take a little stick pin, and poke the air bubble, and then get your finger wet with Mod Podge and go like this with your Mod Podge finger over the air bubble and work some Mod Podge in under the bubble, and sometimes that will flatten it. So, but just remember, if you're using any kind of tissue paper, if you put it down and then you rub your fingers back and forth over it, it's going to shred. So delicate, work carefully, smaller pieces the easier, and overlap them. It's okay if you put, if you put one down, like this is one square, and then if you want to layer your next square like this over top of it, it's cool. Just, play around with it. So, sewing patterns. You can get them at garage sales. You can sometimes find them at Goodwill. Sometimes they have bins of them. So I always buy old sewing patterns. All right, next one, wrapping paper. You can buy brand new wrapping paper. I like to use vintage wrapping paper. Again, you can find this at thrift stores all over the place. I haven't used this on a tabletop yet, but this is vintage Hallmark Valentine wrapping paper. Got a little gold in it. So it just depends what you're redoing. Maybe you paint something white. This will look cute in a little girl's room, or a little table to set in the corner of your bathroom. So, old wrapping paper. Here's another old wrapping paper. This is by an artist called Gwen Frostick. And I liked this one because it looks like it's little birdies, but on wood grain. So, old wrapping paper. And you will do that the same way you do tissue paper. You just Mod Podge it on. Most of these things I'm going to show you are Mod Podgers. So, wrapping paper, sewing patterns, wallpaper. Habitat for Humanity in Midland, if you're from the Midland, Michigan area, has boxes of old wrapping wallpaper. And sometimes it's ugly, sometimes it's not. Here's one I bought that's fruits. And depending on what you're doing, if you're doing a little table set in your kitchen, to put a plant on or to display a vase or something, don't discount the old and slightly ugly. So, I do a lot of wallpaper. Here's another vintage wallpaper. Oops, there's a little piece on that wall. This one's got a little, I don't know if you can see it, but it's got a little sheen to it. And wallpaper works very much the same way. And wallpaper, if it's pre-pasted wallpaper on the back, when you don't have to get it wet like you're wallpapering, but when that paste hits the Mod Podge, it gives you a little bit longer to slide it around and get it into the right spot. But once it's stuck, it's stuck. Here's another really cool vintage wallpaper that I bought. So, wallpaper is another great way to cover a table surface, a small table surface. Here's a fun one. This is contact paper, and it's actually glitter contact paper. And the only thing I'm going to tell you about contact paper on a whole is generally contact paper is that smooth wipeable surface. Don't put Mod Podge over top of that, and really you don't need to put it underneath it because contact paper is sticky. You can just stick it on there. With this glittery stuff, I would probably, because it is smooth and kind of wipeable, but it does have some texture, so I would probably go over this with a glossy Mod Podge over top, just because of the glittery nature of it. But contact paper is great. Here's something I'm going to show you I found at the dollar store. I don't even know what it's called. It's just called a paper roll. They had these at the dollar store. I'm going to go close so you can see the brand. Oh, it's backwards to you. It's With Love paper roll. And it comes just like this. I paid $1.49 for 120 inches, and it's 12 inches long, so it's a foot wide, and they had all kinds of them. This was kind of a sparkly silver pattern. I got gold polka dots. They had all different kinds. So I'm always grabbing up any kind of paper. They're showing it on the picture of the box as like using it as like table runner paper, but I've used it on tabletops and it works great. So that's just from the dollar store. Super simple. Another paper option is I just stumbled upon this at a yard sale. Hold on, my sign is getting in my way, but I want you all to be able to see it so you know what you're watching. I stumbled upon, if you know what origami is, the Japanese paper folding, I stumbled upon a whole bunch of rice paper for origami. And, hold on, I'm going to put something behind it so you can see it. There was a whole package of this cute little pink floral rice paper. And then, as you can see, I have quite a bag of it. I'm not going to pull it all out, but I'll just pull a little chunk. I have all of these little squares of rice paper of different color. You could cut it into shapes. You could use it as squares. You could cut it into strips and make stripes. Great tabletop covering. And again, make sure you Mod Podge underneath, stick it down, and then Mod Podge over top, at least a layer or two. So, origami rice paper works really great. Another thing that is super fun to do, especially if you're doing it for, just a minute, everything is sliding on me, goodness sakes. Another thing, if you're doing especially something for a child's room, like if you're redoing a little craft table or a nightstand for next to your kid's bed or something, go to the thrift store and buy old children's books. Don't let your kids see you do this because you don't want them ripping their pages out of their books. But like this book is some kind of a ABC book, and like say your child's name started. I know this is backwards to you, but maybe your child's name is Cameron. You could rip this whole page off and have a C, and paint the table one of those colors. You know, so there's lots and lots of different little a little prayer book for children that's got sweet little pictures in it. And maybe you use one, maybe you paint the top and you just put on one picture, or maybe you just make it like a collage and slather the whole thing with pictures. I love these books. You guys remember, if you're my age, you remember these little books where they were kind of in the shape of the picture on the front. If you've got a kid that likes doggies, look at all the sweet doggy pictures. You could cut each individual dog out and put it on. Just all kinds of, some classics, Bambi. You know, the pictures in these books are just, I think, gorgeous, and would make just darling little tables for children. So you get the idea there. And vintage children's books, or even old, them could be vintage, old. Next idea, sheet music. You can do a multitude of crafts with sheet music. That's fun and easy. So sheet music is a great way to go. Now I'm going to show you some knot paper options. One is, this was a little trickier to do because you have to kind of be patient and collect them unless you happen to have a stash. But old yard sticks. If you line them, line them up, cut them different lengths, line them up, like bricks, like lay them like bricks so the seams don't line up. Yardsticks are really awesome. And you can leave them just their old natural colors, or if you don't like the colors, you can sand them and then stain them all the same color, or paint each yardstick a different color. But yardsticks and rulers are really fun. One thing I am going to caution you, I'm going to try find two so I can show you. Not all yardsticks are the same thickness, so you don't want to do you want to use yardsticks that are the same thickness so that your surface is flat. I'm going to put, I don't know if I'm going to be able to show this. Do you see these two yardsticks? The difference? How the top one is quite thick and this one is real thin. So pay attention to that, because not all yardsticks are made the same thickness. They're all the same length, but not all the same thickness. So yardsticks, great. Now, if you want to be really cheap and you're a little sneaky like I am, paint sticks. They're free. Sometimes they just have them setting out in a bucket by the paint counter, and if you make 3, 4 swipes back and forth, you just grab a little handful and then shop a little and come back, grab another handful. Anyways, so they usually say the name of the store, Lowe's, but guess what? They don't say anything on the back. Stain them, paint them, whatever you want to do. Write inspirational words on them and then Mod Podge over top of it. The sky's the limit with the paint sticks. And let me show you. You can lay them like this and cut the notched ends off. It doesn't work on the free cheapies, but there is a way to line these up if you buy them. So you can't do it with the freebies. So these, you're either going to have that little tiny hole shape in your tabletop all over different places if you lay them like this, or you can cut them off right here and just use the flat ends. And save these ends, because you never know when you're going to need little tiny squares of wood. So, free paint sticks is a way to go. Then, you can also, I don't know if you know this, but you can buy paint sticks for special for 5-gallon buckets. They're very big. I'll hold it up to this is a free paint stick. This is a 5-gallon bucket paint stick. These are sold in packs of 3s, and they have a 15-inch ruler on them. They're nice and thick, but on the back they're plain, so you can have the ruler side show or not show or back and forth. But these that you buy, you can flip-flop them and line these up if you want to have a little pattern. So, got to buy these. I think they're 98 cents for a 3-pack. So if you're just doing a little end table, not too expensive. Here's another wood option. Tongue depressors. You can get them at the dollar store. I buy mine at Lowe's because you can buy packs of 30 and they're like, I don't know, just over $1. Tongue depressors are great. Depending on how crafty you want to get, you can let that, I should have cracked one of these open to show you. You can lay them down. So here, I'll crack it open and show you what I'm talking about, because I've done this before and it looks cute. Okay. So, you can, let me just get a few that I can hold so you can see. Line them up like this on the edge of your table so that the curved edges are at the edge of your table, and it makes it look like you have a little, I don't know, it's hard to show you, but it makes all the way around your table look like you have a little scalloped edge, like that, like a little picket fence. If you don't like the scalloped edge, then just cut the curved ends off, and you've got nice flat sticks of wood that you can, like I said, color stain, whitewash paint, glaze, dye, whatever. Let me tell you about putting these on the tabletops. These, and the rulers, you could use a little brad nailer if you have one. That's it's like a little nail gun, but it shoots little tiny finish nails. Just pay attention to the thickness of your paint stick and the thickness of your tabletop, and make sure your nails are not longer than that thickness. Otherwise, underneath your table is going to look like a bed of nails. All those pokies are going to be sticking out. If that's the case and you can't find nails short enough, E6000 these bad boys down. E6000 sticks to everything. These, look, that are like paper thin, don't try to brad nail these. I just glue them down with E6000 is how I stick these. So, that is some fun tips on how to do a table makeover. Nice and easy, super simple. Please be sure to like, follow, and share my page. Comment below the video if you have any questions. Feel free to show me, comment, and post pictures of a tabletop redo you've done. And I will talk to you soon. Oh, wouldn't you know it, I almost made the whole video without the dogs barking. Well, it's life. So, please be sure to remember this. The dogs and I say goodbye.